Hello and welcome to another episode of MC Airsoft. I'm Mark, and today we're going to be discussing whether or not you actually need a pistol in Airsoft, right? Aside from looking cool or speed soft, which has its theoretical advantages and disadvantages, and I'm not really going to weigh in on that because I don't play speed soft. I'll leave that to the speed softers, right? Um, in a standard game, whether that is a elongated field at a paintball park or one of the bigger CQB fields or a CQB field just with some a little bit more open distance that isn't as compact as a lot of SpeedQB events, at least that I've seen in videos. Or you're going to a milsim, you're going out and playing woodsoft or whatever we're calling outdoor play, out and about in like wildlife preserves, things like that. Um, there's advantages and disadvantages to carrying a pistol. One disadvantage, I'll go over the disadvantages first. One disadvantage is they're expensive. That's another expense you got to tack on, right? Low end, you're going to probably be spending about $100. Mags are probably going to be 20 to 50, depending on what you're getting. And you'll need maybe a couple of them, maybe one or two, and we'll go over that later. But so the expense is going to be the first issue. Second issue is that yes, this is a polymer frame with a crap metal slide or lightweight metal slide. It still weighs something, right? Which one, it's going to take up space on my belt. It's going two, it's going to weigh something, and especially for longer games or those of us who maybe aren't in the best shape, ounces equal pounds. Pounds add up to pain, right? Because you don't want to be carrying it around. So it's something to weigh for yourself, right? Yeah. So the first thing we're going to be discussing is minimum engagement distances. So a lot of fields, and especially the bigger ones that allow DMRs, LMGs, bolt guns, or bolt action sniper rifles, whatever you want to call them, or other guns with minimum engagement distances, or there are some fields that will allow AAGs, but say that they need a minimum engagement distance of 10 to 20 feet if they're shooting 400, something of that nature. But maybe pistols, if they're shooting under a certain FPS, don't. So you're going to have to deal with a minimum engagement distance in most places. Now, a lot of the milsims, I understand that 400 and under, or 350 and under, whatever the case is, maybe not, maybe don't require minimum engagement distance. Some CQB fields, if you're shooting under their velocity limit, no minimum engagement distance. So maybe this doesn't apply to those fields, but for most of them, there's some kind of minimum engagement distance that you're dealing with. And so carrying a pistol as a backup for that is going to be great. Even if I plan on staying outside of that minimum engagement distance, I'm going to want a pistol or something of that nature on me at all times, so that way if someone breaks a corner that I didn't see and turns a corner on me, maybe I can draw down on them with my pistol, right? Or maybe I have to go into a building or have to go into a heavily wooded environment where I don't have the longer range capability. I might transition, drop my primary onto a sling or onto a retainer clip or something like that, right? And I might draw out my pistol and continue from there, right? So minimum engagement distances. Now, granted, I might not want to carry 4 or 5 magazines with it. It's not a high priority, but I do need something to clear that distance. If you're playing anything with minimum engagement, definitely get a pistol, because otherwise, if someone closes that distance on you, you're out of luck, right? So the second thing is going to be malfunctions, and especially when you're getting into tinkered with rifles, right? They've had work done on them, tight bores that can gum up, all sorts of things. Maybe your battery just dies. And if you still want to be in the fight, it's not a 15-minute game. You can just walk out, switch out a battery, wait another 10 minutes, and then you're in the next game. I'm talking maybe it's maybe a longer engagement, maybe it's an hour, maybe it's 2 hours, maybe it's a whole weekend. And you need to be able to fight back to where your batteries are at, where your unjamming rod or cleaning rod or whatever is at, or something of that nature. Maybe you just run out of rounds, right? For you trigger happy folk out there. Maybe you just ran out of rounds and now you need to switch that out, go for a pistol, and fight to where your ammo is, fight to where your batteries are, fight to where your toolkit is, or whatever, if depending on the malfunction that happened, right? So, being that, yeah, we all like to think our guns are super reliable, or airsoft guns are super reliable. They're never as reliable as real steel, I'll tell you that much. Well, for the most part, there's some unreliable real steel guns, right? But if you're rolling around with an LMG, box mags love to break. If you're running around with a bolt action, maybe it's a cheaper one, you ding it on a barrel or you ding it on a tree and the barrel bends or something like that. I don't know. Maybe you're tripping and you accidentally throw your rifle onto the ground and it breaks. Whatever the case is, if you're worried about malfunctions, especially at longer games, carrying a pistol is a good way to remedy that and at least be able to go fight back to your fix-it kit or batteries or whatever, right? So the last thing is going to be a little weird to a lot of people, and it's going to be dual wielding, right? Now I'm not talking about dual wielding 2 pistols and running around like you're John Wick or anything, right? But if I take my shorter rifle over here, right? Now, one of 2 situations where I've had this happen is one where maybe it's a CQB field or just a close-in environment, but I have my piece of cover and I have an enemy team or enemy team members that are advancing from multiple directions, right? And I need to be able to either make a fighting retreat or make a stand long enough for people to come back and reinforce me, or maybe I just don't have anywhere left to go. Maybe if it's a paintball park or something, maybe I'm at the edge already, whatever the case is, or for whatever reason I don't want to give up the ground I got. Maybe it's an objective, right? So what I might do is, because I'm left eye dominant but right hand dominant, which gives me a little bit of an advantage, and I would suggest if you are right eye dominant, maybe give pistols in your left hand a try, right? But being that I am left eye dominant, right hand dominant, I shoot rifles with my left hand, pistols with my right hand. So what I might do is take a little bit step back from the cover, draw out my rifle, cover one area, and then cover the other area with a pistol, whether it's, just ready to go or whatever. It's pointed in that direction off to the other side, because if I need to switch cover, and let's say I'm close to the cover, and I need to switch cover to the other side with my rifle, I might have to transition over and get on the gun, get it going as fast as possible, and back and forth, right? And that's going to take a minute, especially if they're drawn down on me, and maybe then they're able to move up, right? So having a rifle pointed in one direction and the pistol pointed in the other means that I can, in theory, engage 2 targets at once, right? But really what I'm looking to do is maybe suppressing fire with the pistol and more accurate fire with the rifle, or vice versa. Maybe I'm doing suppressing fire over here to keep their head down while I take some more accurate shots over here. And that way I can engage 2 targets at one time. Because otherwise, unless you're real quick or real far away, if they're spread off far enough, as soon as I make that transition with my rifle over to the other side, maybe I'm even switching arms to better utilize the cover. however you want to do that. Um, you know, as soon as I give up my suppression on one side, they're going to start moving up while I'm paying attention over here. So I'm going to need to swap back and forth faster, and it's just delaying how long I can last, or it's just delaying my death, whatever you want to call it. So it gives you a little bit of a fighting advantage. Now, the other time that I will use it is especially when it's one-on-one or one-on-two, and it's a little bit more open of a field. There's a field up where I am that has 3 old or 4 old houses, and then some open areas, some grass, some vegetation, some rocks, and all that. And so there was a free-for-all that we were doing, whereas myself and one other were the last ones there. And because I was using Big Boy over there, I was keeping my rifle pointed in one direction, whether you're chicken winging, whether you're shouldering, whatever the case is. I was keeping my rifle pointed in one direction and using my pistol on my line of sight to clear high buildings, and using this to cover the open area that was behind me. So that way, if I really needed to, I could turn around and start firing. Now, it does require a little bit of strength. These aren't heavy things, but you're not going to be holding it out, and you're not going to be holding it here forever, right? So it requires a little bit of strength. But clearing, getting a nice pie on a door, making sure that area is clear, and then maybe I can train my rifle on that area while I clear the next one with my pistol. Or if I'm going the other way, maybe I'm pieing a door with my rifle. I'm just going to keep my pistol out, whatever the case is, ready for if I hear something, or if I see something out of the corner of my eye, or whatever the case is. If I start taking rounds and maybe I haven't been hit yet, I can immediately engage until I can bring up my rifle and start going back. So I'm not saying to use 2 weapons at realistically the same time, but you're using one to fill the fill the discrepancies of clearing areas as a single person, right? Or you're using one to fill the discrepancies while one is clearing. So that's just some thoughts. Personally, if you're just a standard rifleman kind of setup, you're just running an AEG, it's fairly reliable maybe, or maybe you're running quicker games, like 15-minute games and cycle reset kind of thing. Maybe don't use it. You don't need a pistol. It's going to be up to you. Obviously, if you're using any of the bigger guns, like the LMGs, DMRs, bolt guns, whatever you want to call them, maybe then you'll want to be able to cover that minimum engagement distance. It's going to be up to you. And then dual wielding, just give it a little bit of a try. Figure out if that works for you. If it doesn't, so yeah. But until next time, that's all I got for you. So stay safe and stay hydrated.